Thanks for all of you that's staying here and joining our sessions. I guarantee you and assure you, you won't regret it because all of here, my panelists is amazing ladies. So applause for them first. Thank you. Masih semangat ya, soalnya tepuk tangannya masih kenceng nih. Okay. So our topic is one of the top trending topic nowadays. I hope I'm not wrong, except of AI, of course, because since this morning we're talking about AI. So we are going to discuss about the changing or shifting of our consumer consumptions, behavior, and culture that impacted by technology. And of course, it caused a complexity because Indonesia itself is already very diverse. So, your opinion, my panel's amazing ladies, which one do you think is changing more? Is it our culture or our behavior? Maybe you can start first, Mbak.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Probably I just want to have some questions, throw the questions to the audience here since all of us within this room are the consumers. Izin untuk berdiri ya supaya I can see more people here. So, who's from you that still go to the supermarket with your family in a regular basis to do grocery? Hands? Wow, very little number. How many of you that really still just like doing the grocery shopping through online shopping? More hands up. Okay. Now, the next questions. How many of you, since the first time you see a new product, be it skincare or makeup or any goods that interest you, until you decide to purchase, less than 2 weeks? Anyone? Since you see the product, you buy less than 2 weeks? Oh, many people. Okay, thank you. So that question is really linked to this because the technology that nowadays happening, it's really changed a lot of more to the behavior, I would say, rather than culture. Because the informations, it spread very fast. People know everything very fast. And also another thing, technology is actually create a convenience to lots of us. That's why the way we do the shopping journey, the decision-making journey, all change. It's not only because probably the technology, but probably this is something that people already talk or listen lots of times. The pandemic that happened, it's also changed lots of things around us when we do things. So the combinations of those two, I think it's really changed the way that the consumer behave towards a category or towards to the way they absorb the informations. So this is something that very interesting actually for us as marketers, not only for the brand, but also for the agency or for the media partners. So basically this is new ways for us to always think and see what we can do, new thing, or probably what previously didn't work, now it's probably can work. Yeah. So I stop there first.
Thanks, Mbak. Or unless you will answer all my questions.
Okay, thank you. I think culture and behavior has evolved significantly over the years, right? But when we see culture will remains there, but technology definitely shift the behavior more. I will argue it's more on behavior that has been changing over the years. And one of the example that culture is still there, for example, Indonesia is, a high collectivism community, right? Like community, words of mouth, recommendations are very important, but how the technology changed this into a different behavior, we can see, for an example, is maybe the viral doll. So I don't know if everyone here in this room know about the viral doll. For me, it's like an amazing example, like what happened to technology. I know one person probably have 4 already of this viral doll just in a couple weeks. And the scarcity of happening because that community, being a part of community is what is in the culture, but the technology shift that culture into some kind of a FOMO, social approval behavior, right? So that's why I think it's really interesting that technology really make it change in terms of the behavior. On a more serious note, probably I also see as a marketer when we see go into the research and see like, what are you seeking for in a product, right? Usually it was top one, efficacy, and then how the product delivers quality, and then probably 10 years ago about recommendation from family and friends. But I'm not surprised right now if we ask about a brand, a product, or a concept, that the recommendation from friends and family become top two because it's embedded in the behavior of the consumer. Like, that I need to know that other people are using this, right? I saw it in social media. So I think it really shift how this behavior of technology even driven the purchase decision of consumer.
Thank you, Yudith.
Okay, so
Barbie?
now I'm taking this also again recapping also. I'm seeing this culture as in cultural values. So I think for me the headline is technology actually putting our cultural values on steroid. Yeah, because there are three things that I noticed from the changes in the behavior. One is our affiliative and collective nature is on steroid. We find communities everywhere. I like watching live shopping, not buying, but watching. Why? The shared identity of the people and the sellers is so interesting, and it's so fundamentally our culture. Yeah. And second is about diversity. Yeah. Now it's not there will be many faces of Indonesia, like our fellows in Kantar would say, but these many faces of Indonesia is now rising up and selling their identity. So technology actually allows us to express our identity. Gue influencer dari Makassar, gue influencer dari mana. Now everybody now has the access to actually express their identity. And that is interesting because as a consumer, when I'm interacting with the brand, which identity do I use? So that will be interesting to use, and maybe this is something that AI technology can also help us do. And the third is, we call it Indonesian optimism, but it's actually lihat aja besok, gitu. Gue beli aja dulu, lihat aja besok. Gue download aja dulu, lihat aja besok, gitu. Which can have negative impact, but also positively is that we are open. Yeah, as Indonesians, we are welcoming. We are open, but I think this will link to another issue is we are only welcoming until we are not. So that's, I think, where technology can help us predict when is it that when our consumers will stop welcoming us.
Okay, so interesting. In the nutshell, so basically technology impacted to our consumer consumption's behavior is because technology itself unlocking more options. So more flexibility as well for our consumers as well as marketers. My next question is, I'm very curious with this very fast informations that deliver to our consumers, unlocking more options. Is it impacting to the loyalty of consumers to your brands? And then if yes, of course, we'll be following my next questions is how to keep the stickiness between your brands and your consumers. Who want to start first?
Yeah, maybe I can, yeah. Thank you, Destya. I think for stickiness, like loyalty is obviously really hard to get in nowadays, right? Everyone knows that. But to establish stickiness, probably what's important for the brand is to be very clear, concise, and consistent. So consistent is the key because if we want to talk about loyalty, we really need to understand what our value proposition and consistently communicating that through the message that we show to our audience. I think the challenging thing nowadays is not about, keep showing the brand distinctive asset, this branding, this color. That's already probably what all marketers do. But what's challenging is to keep the value proposition consistent across touch points. One of the examples, maybe as a brand, we talked about this is where we stand, but maybe we also have other touch points, which is the influencer. Are they going to talk about the same proposition with our brands? So that's something that we think we also need to see. How do we keep this consistent value proposition to the audience so it sticks to them? Secondly is about how to be emotional relevant. Probably this is going to be more of a bonus, right? After we got that stickiness. But to establish that there's already a lot of people talks about this emotional relevant, like through personalization and stuff. So I'm probably not gonna dwell on that. But I think it's also important for marketers to understand how to keep their brand personalized, customized, and talk in the same language with their high value audience. Yeah.
Yeah, to build in on that, it's actually the fun stuff for us, right? On doing all this marketing and stuff. Because what consumer know and believe sometimes is not the real thing. And also there's lots of things that happening in very instant time and lots of trends gearing one or two trend into the same directions. And some of the brand, unfortunately, when they don't really stick to their self, they follow that trend. And the result is probably they can go up very fast, but after 1 month probably, or the first trial, people just leave the brand after that. So the loyalty is not there because they try to keep finding new things again that really attract them. So one of the key things is for the brands or the people who working on the brands is basically how we can still stick and stay relevant to our target audience and our target consumers. And then after that, it's basically consumers, a lot of consumers use or in the FOMO situations, but sometimes the brand team is also doing that. And that's very dangerous for the brand. So we ourselves who need to control what we want to do, what we want to offer to consumers, and what our brand stands for. So with that, I think the consistency, like you said earlier, Judith, it's basically can also make us more stable in the market. And along the year, when consumer really know that, oh, this is the brand that we can trust, it's always consistent and deliver what it's promised, the loyalty will be there.
Thanks. So I have another question for Mbak Ruby. Hold your thoughts, Mbak. I have another questions for you, Mbak.
So
I have another questions for you. So we are talking about consistency, relevance. From the agency creative standpoints, of course, we also need to get an attentions from our audience. How to evolve the marketing strategies to effectively capture the audience attentions. I believe if there is a lot of brands here that also have the same questions. So how to capture the audience attentions? What is the specific change, or maybe we can innovate something, or might be involve the tech on it, AI might be?
okay. Firstly, normally I would say ojo ke susu. Yeah. So I think getting attention, we can always dress differently, we can always speak loud, but I think how can we get their attention by showing our shared value with the consumers. So as you were saying, be yourself, tapi keren, right? So let's say from the strategy point of view, it's always the questions to ourselves is, attention is attention, but I want attention that stays kan. So it actually links to your loyalty question. So apa, what, yeah, dari the values of my brand that actually is aligned to your brand, itu, dan gimana I can actually say it relevantly. Relevantly is the recency, but again, why I say ojo ke susu, but there is a difference between catching attention that is right and also trendjacking. Gitu. So yes, ojo ke susu in a sense bahwa always never change who you are, and that's why the brand essence and the brand key is always important, but then you marry it with something that is recent. That is as far as I will go.
Thanks, Mbak. Aku nemu tagline baru nih. Be yourself tapi keren. Keren juga tagline-nya. Okay. So, talking about relevancy, might be it's not easy as well because Indonesia is very diverse. As we know, like every regions in Indonesia might be has different potentials for your brands. Have you ever considered or try geo-targeting by utilize the local insight to win your many Indonesians instead of one Indonesians? Maybe Bu Feby want to start first?
Mungkin aku tarik sedikit ya. not only talking about the geo-targeting or because of the geographical of Indonesia that's so large, but sometimes this is another challenge, I would say, for us in the brand or people who work in the brand. We try to capture everything. We want everything. We want to capture, if we can, the whole entire Indonesian populations here in Indonesia or outside Indonesia. So many things we want to do. But you know what? Budget is always the limit. Unless you have unlimited budget, that's a different story. But I believe 99% of us working on limited budget. So first of all, I think what we need to really understand, what is our brand or business objective? And what is the key challenges? And what is the size of prize we can win when we do something? Then it comes into whether we want to go nationally, we want to go with all the platform or selected platform, or probably we also can only focus in one or two regions that whether we're strong over there or we're very weak in that area. It's also an options. And yes, there's many cases that we try to focus on selected region doing different things from one to the others. And it's actually giving a big price because it's the impact, it's really built for national. So there's a cases on that. So I don't think we can neglect saying that, okay, by doing national, we can win everything. But sometimes doing the local approach, it also can bring us to different level.
Thanks, Mbak. How
Thank
about
you.
you, Mbak Yudith?
I want to build on Mbak Feby, and I like her where she say that budget sometimes it's not enough. I feel you, right, Mbak? But maybe I can give examples as well from the brand in Haleon. So we have Panadol, and then how we get insights to be able to use technology for UX targeting, right? Some of us in Jakarta probably we already have common use of using adult analgesic for head pain, right? It's something that we do after like so much work and everything, you get a headache and then you do it. But actually there's a lot of opportunity in pain because pain is not head. Sometimes your back pain, body pain, and then it can be treated by a medicine, right? So we saw, for example, in our big regions that our brand maturity is already strong over there, and then the purchasing power is already there, and then the size of prices, of course, there's. Then when it's defined and we see that is a potential market to go GeoX targeting, we also gain the insights of when is the right time or when is the right demand space when people take this kind of medicine, right? So what we've done is that we've targeted for urban cities and then times when they probably need it, for example, after night, when they are in traffic, for example. So that GeoX targeting, not just targeting the region, but also the timings and also the keywords of that people are looking for, and it really gives us also a good impact. But I think the criteria of a success GeoX targeting has been explained really well, Mbak Vebbyna.
Thank you. Mbak Ruby, what's your opinion?
On geo-targeting and geolocations. Yeah. So actually, back in the days, we have done geo-targeting in 1990s. We call that radio. And we send 20 radio ads in different languages. So localization at that time is only about changing the language. Now, what we're doing with the help of technology is not just on the delivery and deployment, but also on the insight finding, is localizing also on the insights from the regions. Itu. So dulu with Prambors, it's just bahasa Sunda, bahasa Aceh, bahasa. Now it's also about the needs based on the geography, geology, weather, and also the social structure of the regions in order to actually, again, how do you present your best self and make it relevant to that region? Of course, this time I have to use AI. I mentioned that. But it's nothing that is so new. It's the technology that makes it easier for us to access.
Oke, interesting. Sebenarnya saya masih punya 100 pertanyaan lagi di sini, Bu. Tapi karena magical sound sudah berbunyi, so I will go straight to my last questions. Kita nggak pernah tahu apa yang terjadi in the future. We never know what will happen in the future. But if we can fantasize or imagining it, what is your opinions about this emerging tech or trends that brands should be preparing to win the competitions among the competitors?
Okay, so I think we don't need to be panicked or scared on the evolving of the technology that's coming up in front of our eyes, because we never know what will come. It can come in like next month, probably something new coming in, and all of a sudden everyone just using it, or probably it take another 6 or even a year. So I think the most important thing for us is really understand that the technology is actually the tools. So we cannot let the technology taking us from doing everything, because the soul is still with us. The decisions still need to be with us. And I think one of the most important thing is the readiness of us, our team, to embrace that change. Because the technology can change. We talked about it earlier, the consumer behavior, the way that they interact with our product or our brand. So we need to be very open-minded, understand that change, and be ready and be prepared. Need to learn very fast, super fast. Even the conversations I listened from the previous sessions as well, that it's not about, oh, your generation, these generations, but it's about collaborations. Because everyone will have their experience, and also it will enrich other people experience or knowledge that can be best for the performance of the brand or the business.
Yeah. To add to that, I think it's also the openness on innovation, right? Because there's so many innovation and we want to try them all, right? But it's always important as well, as we work on a brand, as a marketer, to set a budget actually to try this innovation that might think works for you. Before you close any doors, no, I'm not gonna go jump on that. Why? Because I think it's also a point of learning for the brand, for the organization, also for the team, to also develop ourselves in this readiness of digital, right? A readiness of technology. I think it's the open-mindedness that we needed to embrace that. And then another thing is really embracing about data analytics and also real-time tracking, right? It's also something that, you know, it's a game changer. We not be able to track how our assets works before, but now it's just like in a second that we draw, we know what to do, A/B testing, and also putting that in a day-to-day kind of spirit is also important for us to embrace what's going to happen next.
Thanks, Mayudin. Barubi?
Okay, two things actually in terms of closing is how do we prepare the generations for this, whatever coming up technology that is inevitable? How can we still create humans that will feed empathy to the machines, respect for culture, that will act, because I hear from previous that they meant how can we actually create AI that is not offensive? So how can we create prepare a generation that can help guide the technology so that it's still for Indonesian consumers? Yeah, that's satu. And dua, I think what is emerging that I look forward to is not the technology, but the application of the technology. It started with deployment and then it became a creation. But the thinking, I look forward to more progress in that.
Okay, so recapping to our discussions that actually while culture remains a significant driver of consumers' identity and preference, consumer behavior in Indonesia has been changing rapidly to the influence of technology where we are as a marketer cannot deny it. So as a brands or marketer, we should adapt with these trends, learn very fast, adapting very fast, and considering the targeting precisely into the persona of our audience, and then considering that Indonesia is very diverse, trying to consider to using the local insight to target the geo-targeting to be stay relevant and meet the evolving expectations of the modern Indonesian consumers. So thank you everyone who joining our sessions today. Thanks to Bu Vebbyna, Bu Yudith, and Bu Ruby. So best luck for all of us tonight. Hopefully all of us get the award, a lot of award tonight. Thank you.
Yes, all the best, and thank you ladies for sharing. I would like to request our thought leaders to please wait on stage for an official photograph in the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Once again, in the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you very much, ladies, and all the best for tonight.